My microphone? Can you hear me? Yes. Okay, great. Hello, everyone. We're at the board meeting, September 20th, 2023. I'm going to call your name. Please say here. Jenna Weiss. Here. Here. Ann Benefico. Here. Mike Clark.
Here.
Valerie Nelson.
Here.
John Christina.
Here.
And make note that Jennifer Savage, Mary Ellen Walsh, and Selena Shen is not here. Selena might be joining us. Oh, Selena's here.
I'm on the screen.
Great. Do I have approval of the minutes from August 23, 2023?
I make a motion that we approve the minutes.
Do I have a second?
A second.
Okay, let's hold off until Mike Lewis comes in to schedule next month's meeting. Usually we've been tending to do it on Tuesdays. We had the election, so we usually are doing it the third Tuesday of every month, but let's make sure that Mike Lewis. Is Mike Lewis?
Yes.
Okay, so let's skip him because he's not here. And let's go right on to finance. John.
No significant update. We're still going through the paperwork for the new investment advisor. We've gone through some of the information that's being exchanged, so I expect that to be wrapped up shortly.
Can you? Selena, can you hear?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yes, I can. I can hear.
Thank you, John. Governor Michael Clark.
There are a number of policies that are included in the packet today and they are for review only, since they are all rather complicated policy recommendations. The one I'd like to mention has to do with active shooter policies. And one of the first on it suggests that we have active shooter training for our employees. I don't recall that we've ever done that. Jennifer, do you know if we've ever had active?
Yes, we have. I was head of, I've been I'm sorry. I've been on OEM for 20 plus years, way before Jennifer was on and everything, before I was on the board.
Max, Lily,
What?
put your clothes away. You got undies here. PJs.
We did have, basically Chief Ryan came here and said that you use the exits and you run. And if you can't run, you hide. And he pointed to the exits to the employees that were here at the time. Unfortunately, I think only Alan was here. Everyone else is new, but basically, OEM came here and said that you run to the exits. If you can't, you hide and you call 911.
So, I'm sorry. The only other thing I want to share, Mike, we do have a personnel policy that does have some, it had workplace violence. There are some pieces of that in our personnel policy. I didn't get a chance to read through the entire policy today. But we should definitely make sure that we're not repeating something elsewhere. And maybe the personnel policy is the right place to put it if it's not enough of what's there already.
Good, that's great. I think the other policy proposal that I wanted to talk about, or are you going to talk about it, Valerie, in terms of COVID?
We're going to hold that to executive session as
Okay.
it involves personnel.
Okay.
I just wanted to weigh in on the active shooter training. Utica sent us training videos through a company called Zywave, and all of the employees have watched the 15-minute required training video and taken the required test. So as far as that is concerned, it's been completed, but obviously we'd need to add it to policy.
Okay, great. Yeah. That's actually what we did like 15 years ago through our insurance company as well. Maybe it was 12 years ago when we did the OEM drill, which literally was 5 minutes. We just showed the employees where the exits are. an exit here, an exit there, an exit in the front, exit in children's. You know, thank you.
Jennifer, did you say that the staff watched this film or, okay, thank you.
Mike, anything else?
Only to say that they were for review. This feedback has been fantastic. And I look to presenting you with proposals next meeting.
Great, thank you. Jenna, Public Relations?
Hi, so we have an update regarding our proposal for a social media consultant and to evolve how we've been working to date, and we're really excited to share it. Jennifer, would you like to pull up the scope of work? Now, the PR committee and Jennifer are all aligned on this. As you know, the library had a wonderful social media consultant. However, our needs have evolved, especially with the investment in the website and all of the programming, and we are looking to evolve this role into a social media and content lead role. This also wasn't sent in advance because we were still working to build alignment. So understand if you all need some time to review it.
Can you remind everyone who's on your social media group?
Sure. So the PR committee is Selena Shen, Jennifer Savage, Jennifer Coulter, and myself. So we work really in close alignment to figure out A, short-term needs, and B, like a longer-term strategy. So our recommendation tonight is to evolve this role, like I said, to be more social media strategic, you know, not just executing daily content and coming up with content to post, but really informing a larger strategy in line with Jennifer's larger vision for the library. And in tandem with that, we're looking for really to double down on our asset creation, which means our graphic design. So you know that when you log onto the website, you see a bunch of creative. It's not very visually consistent. It doesn't always ladder up to the library's logo and, you know, in line with the new look and feel. So we're looking to hire one individual to generate all of that content, and then doubly to create the social media content in part with that longer strategic role as well, like I mentioned.
What are we looking to spend on this role?
Sure. And can you see it? I want to make sure everyone see it on the screen? I can talk through it if you'd
Yes.
like.
Oh, wow.
It's a little blurry.
I see it.
Okay. I can speak to it at a high level. How about that? Can we start at the top and then I'll walk you through the fee increase? Great. So we're positioning this as a social media and content lead role, and it's a consultant role. Now, the monthly scope of work ladders up into the pillars I mentioned. So in partnership with the library director and board, this person will lead strategy around content ideation and creative ways to generate growth and engagement. So much more thought leadership. They're going to create original graphic design assets in line with the library's visual identity, inclusive of website slides, website program flyers, social media posts for Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, seasonal advertisements like what you've seen in the record review, and a set of templates that the rest of the staff can leverage for ad hoc social postings. So this is really important. This person doesn't have to be generating all of the content, but they're going to say to the staff, here are the rules of the road so that when you're posting like live from an event, you know, it looks professional and it's going to uphold our standards.
How many hours will this person work per month?
So we do not, here, you can see, I'll finish this up briefly. Then we're going to post, this person's going to post creative content across the social channels, inclusive of daily programming and any updates, upcoming events, special library moments, holidays, viral trends, book recommendations. They're going to lead community management, representing the library's brand voice. And this is inclusive of checking the accounts at least one time a day. Now, this is an area where we can have cost control, right? We're not saying you need to check this 20 times a day. There will be an expectation that they log in once a day and respond to all comments, questions, and messages, and continue engaging with the community accounts that we follow. And then lastly, participate in new content brainstorming for the social media calendar once a month in partnership with Jennifer. So as you can see, this is a large increase in work, and social media monthly retainers do not typically back up into an hour. And the reason is it's very hard to track. If you log in once a day, sometimes it can take 3 minutes. Other days it could take 30 minutes. We know that this is the core set of deliverables that we need to really up-level the library's presence And, you know, it's an increase in scope versus what we had the consultant do prior. So our proposal is, you know, we think competitive, and it's a good opportunity at $825 a month to oversee the website's visuals, all of the social media, content generation, and the community management.
My whole thing is a person off-site. And I don't like the fact that someone's off-site. I think that, when you upload pictures and everything that if you're off-site, you're relying on people, like, let's just say we have this park. Then you're relying on people to take pictures for you. You're relying on people to take pictures for you with the programs here or at the park or whatever. And so that's my thing.
Well, this person that we'll discuss in executive session that we have in mind who showed interest in the role is local. Our expectation is that it can be hybrid. And the reason being is that like 60% of this at least is going to be graphic design, which you could do from Tokyo, you could do from Pound Ridge, you could do it anywhere. And we're going to put in place a system that's really evergreen, which means that, you know, one person can't be everywhere all at once, right? We want the entire staff to be able to say, oh, you know what, a really great moment's happening. I know the visual standards and I have a template and I can shoot this picture, pop it in the template and post it in line with our policy. You know, I think that especially for a consultant role, it's hard to expect someone to always be here. And we want the entire staff to feel empowered to be part of the digital strategy.
When you said the last piece is community management,
Yes.
what did you mean by that? Because if it's responding to the public and somebody writes something in, like, isn't there kind of a control, like a step away, a step removed, if we're allowing this kind of outside person responding in a way that we want, as opposed to, you know, someone that works here?
Well, I think this person should be an extension of our team. And I think the person we have in mind, you know, has worked here. And so that said, I would say also that most small businesses and nonprofits actually have people that are consultant based. You know, not everyone has a full-time staff member doing specifically community management, because I would say that's probably I don't want to say the easiest thing to outsource, but you set the rules of the road and the person follows that. We can give them a style guide, like this is the library's, you know, tone of voice. These are emojis we use. These are emojis we don't. We can get very granular with that direction and make sure that it's being enforced.
Okay.
But I understand it's a very important piece. Community management also, to go back to your question, it's managing the accounts. It's being the voice of the accounts. It's posting. It's ensuring that if someone messages you, they respond. It's liking. It's following new accounts that pop up in the community. It's really being like the voice and the ears and the eyes of our accounts.
So I'm excited by this too, because I look on things like the town's weekly bulletin. Sometimes that's not quite what I want to see. So I'm excited by this. What will be the metrics that will follow in terms of deciding whether this is successful or not?
So I think it's a few things. I think it's continued engagement and growth. I think it's a lot of it's visual too, like the cohesion and the level of upstandingness, right, that we want the library to have across all of its assets. I would say additionally, maybe it's click-through rate, right? Like on the website, we're going to be able to see how many things got what types of clicks. We would like to see an increase in that. And then additionally, a lot of it's going to be strategic, which is hard to kind of put metrics against, right? It's going to be making sure that the working style is favorable to Jennifer and how she wants to run the team, and also that it's favorable to this board.
Great. Well, they also, going back to Mike's point, the content that gets sent to Dave Goldberg's email blast and the contact that gets sent, will she or he also look at those components and make sure that it's a little more cohesive and a little more maybe understandable and, you know, forth to the library what we want to be.
Exactly. One look and feel, you know, everything consistent, a certain level, right, of reputation that we want to withhold for the library and visual aesthetic.
I mean, anyone else comment? I'm in favor of it. How about anyone else?
I guess my other question is, because I don't remember, how much were we paying monthly before?
500.
425, I think.
425?
Yes.
Okay.
And, the thing is that this area very quickly can become a full-time job. So I just want to set the expectation with everyone in the room that we are cognizant that this is not a full-time job. This is what we feel is a competitive retainer to, hit our checklist each month, and we can have an ongoing check-in about how that's going.
Is there any way, based on what Valerie just said as well, based on what we were paying our last consultant, that we could knock this person down to maybe 600 with the expectation that if we feel that he or she is doing a job that we like, we can review this in 3 to 6 months?
So we discussed that as a committee, and I think our concern is that kind of sets a tone that we want to stay away from. We want the person to feel incentivized and excited, not like they have to reach for growth in a few months. And I also feel like, given the scope of work, I actually think this is under where it could be. I think this is a lot more work. And it didn't feel right for us to go any lower than where we're at as a starting point. And I'm economic in every way. And I still think this is a significant savings versus what we would have to pay someone in-house full-time.
This is Selena. I'm just going to jump in quickly. I hear the concern on both sides. I also just want to be cognizant of that. And I don't want to speak for Jenna, but if there are things in here, and you can take a look once it's uploaded on Dropbox or whatever, that we feel like we don't need this person to do, we can talk about that. This is all up for discussion, of course, but more generally, the idea is to have a cohesive strategy and just present ourselves publicly in one consistent way. So that's the overall goal of this scope. And of course, the specific details of what we want or don't want, we could always, adjust accordingly.
Yeah, Selena, that's a really good point. I guess the other question then I would have is, are we entering into a year-long contract? Are we doing this month to month? Like, how are we dealing with that?
Yeah, this is new territory for the library. So month to month is our
Okay.
goal to
That
start.
I think that makes me feel
Me too.
better as
Actually,
well.
You said month to month, that's great, because if you take 20 hours a week, a month, and you divide 825, it comes out to $41 an hour.
Yeah.
So I think we have to be very conscious. That's our main goal as a board, is to be fiscally, financially responsible. But I'm willing to give it a shot. Does anyone else have any other comments?
No, I would just say I'm completely supportive of this, and I think it's time for the library to move on and up as it relates to kind of digital media and social and all of that. So I have no problem upping, the comp we want to do to get this, assuming we're going to get what we can out of it. And then we'll review it, as we go forward. But this is so frontline and important. I'm very supportive of this.
I agree. So I think that we're all in favor of it. No other questions or anything, and we can, since you guys already have someone in mind, we'll discuss an executive session. Make note that after this meeting, we're going to go right into executive session.
So the only thing we have to do is, if anything includes financial, we have to actually vote on it here. So I don't know if you want to do that pre-executive or after. Are we going to vote for the salary and then talk about the person in executive, I assume?
Okay. So do I have a motion to approve $825 a month for the person that we're thinking about social media?
Well, wait, how can we approve the money if we don't know who the person?
You can make a
is?
decision in executive that, no, we don't want that person. We want somebody else. But what we're
What's
approving is the
money.
concept.
Okay.
Right. And the amount.
Thank you so much. And actually, one last comment. We've had every single staff member working across social media. And if you actually tally up all of the daily hours that they're spending, it's a huge savings to put this to one person. So I hope that builds some comfort.
Good presentation, Jenna.
Thank you.
Do I have a motion?
I make a motion that we approve $825 as a monthly fee for hiring a professional consultant to do our social media, to function as a social media and content lead.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, great. All in
Who
favor?
seconded? Jenna?
Thank you. I'll second it.
All
And
in
I
favor?
appreciate, this was a quick turnaround. So I thank you all.
Great.
for
Thank you, Jenna. We're going to go right to Mike, because Mike's here.
Hello, everybody. So before I start with the presentation, I just wanted to let you guys know, and I know that Bonnie and Mike and John know, but just to let everybody know that the OSC, they reviewed our financial statements. You know, that's the last piece of the puzzle from 2022. We went through the quality control. I answered all the questions. They were happy, and pencils down. 2022 is officially done. So and then I just saw here on the committee updates, there's something with the tax cap. I don't know if I missed that, but the tax cap is a form that we have to do with the OSC. And for 2024, obviously, we kept the levy the same, so it should be a very quick and easy compliance reporting. So I'll do that. We'll do that after this meeting. Other than that, oh, sure.
Can you just define the OSC?
Oh, the Office of State Controller, New York State. And all local governments, you know, special districts, stuff like that, they have to do that compliance reporting. So with that said, going into the balance sheet comparison as of August 31st of 2023, the total bank accounts and assets were $1.1 million compared to the 1.6 that was in 2022. Again, as I've been saying throughout the whole entire year, that's pretty much the library's commitment to the projects, which is the parking lot in this particular year. And then you scroll down to the other assets, which are our endowment funds. Between the cash and the market value of these endowment funds, it's about $767,000 compared to $771,000 from the prior year. So pretty much in line with last year. Regarding the current liabilities in regarding the security deposit, that's obviously the tenant's security deposit. The deferred revenue is a revenue recognition account where we take 1/12 of the levy and we recognize $64,000 every month, excuse me. So by the end of this year, that will go away, that deferred revenue. And it's consistent, obviously, with last year. If you go to page 2 of the balance sheet comparison, this just shows the total equity, which is comprised of the net position at the beginning of the year plus the current net income or loss. The loss as of August 31st is $110,000. You compare that to last year, it was $176,000 loss. But again, as I said before, it's because of the investment. This year is the parking lot. Last year was the interior renovations. And of course, that number is gonna change at the end of the year once we capitalize some of these costs. So if there's no questions about the balance sheet, you good? Okay. All right, moving on to the profit and loss. Again, this is as of August 31st. The total income as of August 31st is cumulatively $585,000 compared to $532,000 at the same time last year, up $52,000. And you'll see that a good amount of it is due to the market value gain on investments in the endowment fund. So that's pretty much what's making up that value. And then you'll also see that there's, interest income is up, but then it's offset by the donation from the foundation last year, which was $76,000 at this point. So that's what makes up the net increase. There's no questions on that. I'll move down to the expenses. You'll see here are the library services. And on page 2 of that presentation, the total library services spent was 83,506 compared to the 72,769 last year at this time. So it's up about $11,000 or 15% change from last year. And the majority of that that variance is the investment in the children's programming. That's up about $9,300, and the programs in the 8240 account, that's up about $3,700. So that pretty much makes up the majority of that variance. And then in regards to on page 2 again, the total office G&A is shy of $98,000 compared to the $89,812 in 2022, up about $7,800 or 8.64%. I mean, there's a lot of ins and outs here, but you can just pinpoint one of them, and that would be the equipment purchase in the 7301 account. That's up pretty much spot on at 7,744. And of course, there's all these other offsets.
Mike, is that something we would normally expense, or are those equipment capitalized?
We're gonna do that analysis at the end. So for cash flow purposes, we put the equipment in here, but
Yeah.
then at the end of the year, we'll do a fixed asset analysis, and then that'll get capitalized. That'll actually come out and it'll be
Yeah,
depreciated.
but my point is, like, it's not a surprise. We know what that equipment is. But is it something we capitalize, or is it something we expense? You know?
Yeah,
Okay.
so based on the threshold, it might actually be expense, because I think the per unit is like $5,000. I think that's the capital asset threshold. So
It is.
So the per unit cost, it might, but if we bought it in bulk, we might, I'll work with the auditors on that and they can make the determination. It's really more of a bookkeeping. It's either we're going to expense it or we're just going to amortize it over the life of the computers.
Yeah, in the past, we've expensed it.
Yeah.
That's how we've done it in the past.
But in regards to like the parking lot project and the interior renovations last year, that all got capitalized because there is a
Exactly.
useful life. So the properties and grounds, 245,000 compared to the 298,000. But again, you could see the swing between the parking lot and the interior renovations. There's a net only $3,000, but you can actually see that the cottage maintenance last year to get that tenant in, that was $39,000 worth of expenditures last year. So between that and the lawn and snow contract, that pretty much makes up the $53,000 difference from prior year. Then you have the salaries and the benefits. Total is $197,637 year to date, compared to the $185,709 in 22, up about $12,000 or 6.42%. And again, that's just based on the, staffing, and when you have increased staffing, obviously you have increased fringes, and that pretty much makes up the majority of that. And then you have the technology at 56,000 versus 46,000, $10,000 more. And then you have the utilities, which is pretty much in line, $16,097. So with all that said, it yielded a net loss of $110,000, $110,649, which you saw on the balance sheet.
So I just want to point out a couple of things. Since we are increasing our social media presence, if you look at 7410 publicity, actual we're 3,300, the budget was 1,000. I'm hoping some of these numbers will go down because publicity to me is social media at this point. And so I think some of these line items we could really start taking a look at, because we really only have $774,000 to spend per year, and things come up, as you're going to see, our roof. And so I think we really have to start being conscious of some of our expenditures and where we're going over. For instance, if we buy computers for the children's room, then it has to come out of someplace. And so we really have to start looking at our budget. We're now increasing our social media, so maybe publicity and some of these other lines we can lower. Because we all have to stay within our budget of 774,000.
Mike, can I ask a question for 7411 election expenses? We did have an election last year, but we had no expenses against it. Okay, because it's blank. And then I don't understand what trustee expense is for 7412. I'm sorry, Jen. Okay.
The election expenses for the 7411.
Right.
Well,
It's
there's 912.
right. I was just looking at the column over to the right for 20, because didn't we have an election in the same time period last year?
No, this
Yeah.
is
What?
only for 2023. Is that what you're looking at?
No, no,
Okay.
but I think there could be a timing issue on the one we paid that.
Oh,
Because this is January to August, so maybe we paid it in September.
okay,
Yeah.
gosh, okay, thank you.
Sometimes, when you do these comparatives, it's the profit and loss and the balance sheet, they're all on cash basis until you get to the end of the year. That's when we then accrue and, for the audit.
Okay, thank you.
So,
Yeah, look, I think we'll take it up, Mike, to talk about we keep getting these as results, right? So it's like after the fact, this is up, this is compared to the budget. And again, I think we need more like a forecast view and distinguishing between the 774 that Bonnie's talking about, right? What are we spending that came in? It's a current year expense that we're spending current year money in.
right.
Versus dipping into reserves. We sort of like blur the lines there a little bit. We go over that, and that's fine to do it, but we should know when we're doing that, right? It shouldn't limit us in any way, but we should know when we're doing it. Or as we said, if we're not going to pull it out of reserve, then it's got to come from somewhere else in the budget. So I think we just need a little more on that. But
Are you talking about like a cash flow? Like a projected cash flow or?
Not just cash flow, but probably even a forecast to what we're going to capitalize on that. I think we have an idea of what gets capitalized.
Yes.
We can
okay.
throw it into a bucket. It doesn't have to be perfectly correlated to depreciate things. And obviously the audit will be the audit. But I think it skews the view because we're only looking at cash in and out, and we're blurring kind of what's the current year cash in against current year expense versus we have this reserve and we just sort of like capture, right? Whatever the overflow is. And it's very hard to tell when you're looking at this month to month or even year to date.
Right.
As opposed to like a full view. I mean, and even the budget, if I look at programming, and I think we consciously made that decision to go over on programming, right? Which is fine. Community wants it. It's very popular, right? We have all those. That's great.
Yep.
We made the decision to go ahead and do it, but we're just sort of financing it, right?
Right.
We're just sort of like paying for it out there, running the $110,000 for whatever the reason is, 110,000 over at least, the budget. We're running at a loss. We should kind of understand where that loss.
Well, I'm gonna, what I did last year, you could do it at 6 months, you could do it at the end of the year, but what I do is I'll propose a budgetary amendment for the trustees to approve, which is to cover these overtures.
No,
and
I agree. I think that's after the fact. That cleans up our books for the audit, and I get why we do that. That's fine. I'm saying that we should know this as we're going along, where we're spending and where it's coming from.
okay,
But we can talk about it. We don't have to.
sure,
have it on
yeah,
here,
that's
but we
fine. Okay,
Yeah, I think what I think John's getting at is something I think I said a couple of months ago. It's from a month-to-month basis, how much money does it cost to run the library? And does that equal the $774,000, right?
Right.
And if it doesn't, then to John's point, we should, as a board, be very clear on where we're going to take the money from and make that decision that says, yeah, we all know we're going to be over by 20,000 because we made this decision, and rather than at the end of the year say, oh, look, we were over by 100. Oh, it's okay. We got this reserve. We kept
So-
covered.
What I can tell you is that the QuickBooks system allows you, I could run a report on a month-to-month basis that cumulatively tells me how much, how much did we profit or loss per month up until August. So I could run that report for you also, just to show you kind of the trends from a month-to-month basis also from that aspect, that's
I
the,
think the way that I would think about it, we're going to talk about the roof, which is a lovely, expensive topic. And so to be able to make an informed decision that says, actually, I'm making this up. Actually, we're doing so much better than we thought. And therefore we can pay for that without a problem out of that 774. Or, oh, we were already over by 100 and now we're going to be over by whatever.
Mhm.
So that we can in the moment make decisions of
also
do
keep in
that.
mind, besides the 774, you do obviously have other, right, you have the interest income, you have cottage rental, so you do have other sources of income, you're well over
Right.
825,000.
But we also have expenses that aren't budgeted for, right? As well.
Right.
Yeah.
So maybe what we can do is, like this 24 budget that was just passed, I don't believe, correct me if I'm wrong, it does not have other additional parking lot.
No, so
Appropriation.
perhaps what you could do is just the budget that was passed, just break it out for the 12 months, right, John? And then we can see that.
Yeah,
On a prorated, you mean? So you're taking the 774 and I'm on a, and.
it's as
do-
much that, Mike,
Exactly.
it's as much that as a forecast where you're
Yeah.
doing a 6-6, right? 6
Yeah.
months actual, 6 months forecast. And
Yeah.
a forecast is different than a budget. A forecast is what we expect.
Yeah.
So we budgeted 24,000 for programs, but we're going to spend 36. We know that.
Yeah.
So
That's
the
pretty
forecast
much
would
what
be
that-
at a run rate of, right? A run rate of on 36. That's what translates. Now we kind of have an idea of where we're spending.
Right.
We're more comfortable saying like, okay, we know where the money's going to come from.
And that's
Cover that.
exactly what I did with Jen when we did the 24 budget. You take the trend analysis of a certain day and then, a certain time, and you project it out so that you can come up with an
Yeah,
informative.
and I.
Yeah, we could do
where-
that.
Where some of the capitalization comes in, because I think it starts skewing what we're spending on capital things. It's a different.
Correct.
It's different. We're okay doing that, and that could come from different sources when we spend on capital. I don't like it muddying it up, the P&L, and what we're running on, right, for the operating
Mhm.
expenses.
Yep.
So it's just something to evolve, and I think this is fine.
Yeah, fair enough. Yep. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's go on.
Yeah, no problem. And then you have your budget versus actual. Again, this is just taking, the prorated, budget as of August 31st versus the actual as of August 30, August 31st. We're trending at, $48,719 more than the actual budget. It's hard to budget, in the investment income and the gain and loss on income. So that gets, that ends up showing as a surplus, at the end of the year. But everything else is in line. And then we've spent, to date, $4,800 more, in the library services. As you can see, the majority of that is in, again, the children's programming. That makes up the majority of it. The office G&A, give me 1 second on the second page. That is 97,569 versus the prorated budget of 86,000. So that's trending. That's $11,000 over on that budget. And then you have the properties in the grounds. To your point, John, it's at 245,000 compared to the 74,000. That's $170,000 over, but that again would be, I would propose a budgetary to cover that expense with fund balance. But on the flip side, on the salaries and the benefits, there's $55,000 of budgetary savings. As we projected 252,000 on the budget versus the 197 that we actually spent. The technology is 55,000 versus a prorated budget of 28,000, but that's all based on, cash. It'll even itself out at the end of the year. And the utilities are pretty much spot on at 16,000. So and then again, that's what yields the net loss of 110,000.
Great, thank you. So let's, any questions? Otherwise, we'll move right on to warrants. Okay, is this the accurate warrants?
Yes.
$25,146.01. Okay, do I have any questions about the invoices? No, do I have a motion to approve?
Make a
I move
motion.
that we approve the warrants this month for $25,000, $146.01.
Second it.
All in favor? Great. Do we need to move any money?
So, Ann, if you could share the current balances.
So, the current balance, I guess this is in the checking account, right? Like the first number is 74,187.24. So I don't think we need to move.
But when I saw the warrants and I moved to cover them into the checking account yesterday.
Oh, okay. So you already moved money. Oh,
Yes.
thank you.
Mhm.
So we don't need to move it.
Okay.
No.
All right. Because you have to factor in, there's going to be at least 2 to 3 more payrolls from the time now until, I don't know if you guys came up with
No, we're waiting.
I have budgetary, I have actually budget meetings at my job, like all of October. So, and I don't have,
If you,
Well-
if you don't, can't be here, that's absolutely fine. I was waiting for you.
okay,
But I don't think in October, it's past budget season, I'm perfectly fine with that.
Okay.
Is that okay with everyone?
I mean,
Okay.
I'll make a good faith effort to be
No,
here.
I think it's
if-
fine. I understand.
If not, I'll just report. I'll just give you guys the reports.
Yeah,
that
it
I-
could be in our Dropbox like it is.
Yeah.
Okay, so that being said, since we were waiting for Mike, the third Tuesday of the month, because I think Selena, I think it was a great suggestion, we be a little more consistent. So the third Tuesday would be the 17th, the fourth Tuesday would be the 24th. My suggestion probably would be keeping it more to the 24th, but it's up to you guys just because of the invoices on the credit card, but
Mhm.
what does everyone think?
I can do the 24th, but I cannot do the 17th.
24th, John, everyone the 24th? So let's do October 24th for the next meeting.
That actually
That's
might, that might actually work for me, I think.
That's a Tuesday again.
Tuesday, October 24th.
And you know what? If you're tied up with budgets and everything, you don't need to come. Maybe that's the day you spend with your family.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, moving on. We've already gone to Jenna. Selena, I see you're blowing your nose. I feel so bad. Do you want to,
Okay.
talk about, programming? Are you up to it?
Yeah, no, there's not that much to update on. I think one of the main things is there was a discussion about the process and procedures for whether we decide to change locations, mostly due to weather, but other kind of changes in location for any of our programs. I think we came to a good conclusion on that, which sort of divides by children's programming just based on the needs of the children that are attending and kind of transportation and giving them as much of a heads up as possible on that and registration that is therefore required, et cetera. And then leaving the adults and all basically non-children's programming to kind of Jennifer and the team to decide if it needs to be on shorter notice. I think there's a little bit more leeway there. So that's the main update. And thank you to Marilyn and Jennifer and everybody who was involved in putting together the BEAR program. I know that it got rescheduled, but I know that there were a lot of cooks in the kitchen for that. And so I really appreciate everybody's effort there. Those are the main updates for now.
Great. Are there any questions for Selena with programming? I only have one question. I did see our chess is $150, I think, that we pay our instructor. I do see that we're kind of slow in getting people to that program. Do you think maybe we should social media advertise it a little bit more? Because I
Sure.
never see it advertised on Facebook.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. We can look into that.
Instagram or something. I think it's a great program, but it's just not being well attended, I noticed in the breakouts.
Thank you for raising it. We'll address it.
Great, thank you. Valerie, COVID policy, human resources, legal?
Yeah, we're gonna talk about the COVID policy and executive. The only thing I just wanted to go back to was the policies that Mike, you brought up. They're all in the personnel policy, including the requirement there's training annually. So one of the things that Jennifer, you and I should probably talk about is going through that personnel policy and making sure that we, have a little checklist of all the things that need to happen on an annual basis or whatever, because that is actually in our policy already. We obviously just haven't necessarily been doing it. Well, it sounds like they did something recently. So with the training. So hopefully we're in compliance with all those things.
Great. Any, okay, again, well, COVID policy as it relates to an employee and executive session. Children's room refresh, Jennifer Coulter, since Jennifer Savage isn't here, do you have anything to report on? Okay, great. So I'll move forward with the infamous parking lot. Everyone got my emails. We sent a letter that I worked over the weekend. Jenna White tweaked it and we sent it off to the planning board. Christine Durr, who is, don't want to call her secretary, don't know her exact name, but she does all the planning board materials. She received it. She acknowledged it. Our meeting is September 28th. That's next week. Some of you have already emailed me and say you can't be there. Obviously, the more the merrier. You see where we are on the list. We're number 10. It starts at 7. Just be thankful that the fire department is, as you noticed, they are not going. They dropped out of the list. We're still number 10. So thank goodness they're not in front of us. Again, I have no say in how we're placed. New business always goes first, then old business. And because we're not officially have an application in, we're the last. So that's how it goes. I can't change that. I think that some of you talked about getting together beforehand. Unfortunately, my holiday is this weekend. Monday's Yom Kippur, but I'm available Tuesday anytime if anyone wants to meet before we go in, or Wednesday before we go in front of the planning board. We can certainly email each other, text each other. We don't have to do this now, but I'm more than happy to meet. And again, this is, not, we don't have to answer the engineer. He might talk to us like he did the last time. This is a preliminary. Let's see where we go. So if we get a committee on Tuesday or Wednesday, we can kind of talk about what our goals are, and where we see this going. And then we have to talk about the money if we do get some kind of approval for spots. Any questions?
No question, but I do think it's important that whoever is going to attend the meeting, we do get together before, so we could maybe designate a spokesperson, or so we're not all, speaking at the same time, have one person represent the library.
Yeah, so we should meet Tuesday or Wednesday. Let's, email each other, text each other. It's going to be whoever can meet the most time. And again, it's very informal, and we just have to feel them out and see where we're going from here. They have all the paperwork, as my letter stated, and they've got the traffic study. I don't know how they're going to perceive it. I kind of perceive it well, but that's my interpretation. I'm not them. So
Do we know what the outcome of that meeting is or how quickly we know the result of the meeting?
no, well, I will tell you because we're number 10. People, the last time in every meeting, you'll see people don't show up and they're looking for them all over the building. So we might be not there until midnight, but there is a lot of people ahead of us. And the outcome, I have no way to predict how anyone feels. Well, I kind of do know how some people feel, but let's see if we can't persuade them, change their minds, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I think the purpose of this, at least the way I see it, the purpose of this meeting is they asked us to do a traffic study. We did. So this is an informational session. We've not put forth a proposal yet. And I think we're just trying to feel them out of whether their reaction is either, oh yeah, traffic study looks good. We think maybe we would grant you something. You know, they may give us some parameters. They may not though. They also may just say, okay, thank you for the traffic study. Now make your proposal and we'll go from there.
Keep in mind that they mentioned sightlines. There's nothing, this is a state road. There's nothing I can do about sightlines coming into the driveway. I mean, let's face it, if you make a left out of this driveway, I can't help those sightlines. We have mailboxes, so I did look at that last night and feel that maybe we could do something, although the post office, we've asked over the past, they will not let us bring the mailboxes in to people's driveways or anything back here, so that's a no. They won't let us put it across the street, so that's also a no. And they don't want it further back than what it already is, so that's the post office. We can't stop people from getting their mail because we do have tenants in the back. And, you know, there was a suggestion that maybe we can move the driveway. So this is a state road that would take many, many years. So we have to feel them out. If they come up with suggestions like that, then we have to come as a board in October and decide our next step, keeping in mind that there's going to be financial costs in terms of what they suggest.
Yeah, and we'll get to the financial cost, right? This was to kind of feel it out. I just think we should go in there with some expectation, maybe we want to get out of the meeting as well. We may not get it, but I want to come to a conclusion, then them raise more questions. We have to do a mailbox study or some other random thing.
Yeah, so I think,
do.
when
So
we meet Tuesday
I'd
or
like to come,
Wednesday,
because if the answer is we can't do it, then that's the answer. Right?
exactly.
If the answer is let's move forward, let's do it, because I think you especially, and right, others, you put a lot of time into this. We're going to do this as kind of our second or multiple time go around here. I just want to
Exactly.
make sure that we're focused and we try to come away with sort of definitive things so that we know where we stand. Because from the community, the foundation, whoever's going to finance all this, we can't go on forever. So I
Exactly.
just want to see
So-
how far we can go with getting some kind of answer. It may not be what we want and we may have to go back to them again or something, but I just think going in there with something on our side, instead of saying like, I hope we find out, maybe we go in there with just some list of things like.
Well, that's why
hoping
we're
to
going to
hear
meet,
from
that's why
here.
we're going to meet on Tuesday and Wednesday. You're welcome to join us. And we're going to come out with goals. I have my goals in mind. I've always had my goals in mind, but I want to be as a committee. You know, I'll share them publicly. I think 20 spots or less for me per, being on this board probably would be a non-starter for me. Because of the cost of doing those 20 spots with an architect and everything, I don't think we get enough out of it. Maybe my threshold would be 15 or 20 and over. I will tell you if they want sidewalks at a back entrance, that's a non-starter for me as well. Just because I know the financial costs. This is a steep slope. Steep slopes, lots involved. We'd have to have, and we also have a drainage issue. It would be beyond costly, and we'd have to do a zigzag to accommodate our steep slopes, which would be a very cost prohibitive thing along with sidewalks. So that's my non-starter, but you know, again, I'm only one person. We'd have to work as a committee.
Sure. Okay, that was it. I just wanted to.
Yeah.
to the best
Moving
we
the
could.
driveway entrance is a non-starter for me. I know how costly that could be. And if they, again, the sight lines, there's nothing I can do about sight lines because we have neighbors. There's a rock wall and, you know, the road is what it is.
That's fine. Thanks.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Okay, John, long-term planning.
No update.
Okay, great. Okay, traffic study I already discussed. OEM, I told you we did have a very brief meeting here with personnel 10, 12 years ago or something about, you know, God forbid you have an active shooter run. Technology, Michael?
Jennifer, I don't know if you wanted to show anything or whether we just kind of talk it out. Okay, the issue this year is that we're coming up on a deadline with the WLS in terms of our network and just our technology arrangement with them. Other libraries have started to sign out of the WLS system for certain technologies, although you never leave the WLS system, just you provide other technology providers. We've looked at some, Jennifer, spent a lot of time researching the local ones, ended up out of 6 candidates, 2 that are possible, and one of them currently existing, if I remember, in the Mamaroneck Library. But right now, we're coming up against a deadline of October 1st to sign with WLS. So we just don't have the time to truly evaluate another provider. So we're going to go ahead October 1st, sign with WLS for this year, but plan to visit Mamaroneck and talk with people about alternate providers.
Great, thank you, Mike. And vendor contract review, you know, we still have the 3 quotes in place.
So can I just, in the future, if we have a contract as kind of like the legal committee, it'd be helpful if I had it before, you know, right before a meeting, because this is due October 1st. I know that there's not a lot you can negotiate with them. But still, it should probably go through that. And then I guess my other statement is, like, I don't know when we got it, but the fact that, you know, we don't feel like we have time because it's coming up on a deadline. Like, did they send it to us yesterday, or did we know about it for 6 months and that would be my only other thought.
Jennifer, can you report to the, when did they give us our final numbers? Yeah. In between meetings.
Thank you.
That was my other question. I mean, it's a contract. We're contracting.
It's a
I would-
contract. Okay,
would
so let's
think
make
we
a
need a
let's
motion.
make a, do I have a motion to sign the WLS technology contract? Do I have a motion? Okay,
I'll make a motion that for 2024, we use a WLS system for our technology network providers.
do I have a second?
I second.
All in favor? Great. Thank you very much. Jennifer Coulter, Director's Report.
Into that, Valerie, did you? It was Selena on Zoom. Can't do that. You can't do
Yes.
that. Yeah,
Oh,
that's
she
what I
can?
thought.
I can. I believe that according to the latest policy information that Mike sent.
Okay, thank you,
Um,
Selena.
Okay. Sure.
Okay, for the director's report, the first thing I have is, I'm wondering whether the board is interested in investing in a passport camera and the accoutrement, the supplies that go with it. The initial investment would be $500. The maximum we can charge per photo, per application is $15. So the camera would pay for itself after 33 passport applications.
At the moment, we don't do photos, right? They bring their own
Correct.
photo in. Okay.
I really feel like we're missing an opportunity and something nice to give to the community, because it's one thing to have your passport application processed in town. That's great. But if you got to go all the way to Stanford or Richfield or New Canaan to get the photo, you're really not saving anyone the trip.
Yeah, and I also think you can do passport pictures that you don't necessarily need for passports. There's a lot of other licenses and things that would be nice to come in here. And honestly, at $15 a pop, it literally costs us nothing.
Mhm.
So I think it's a great idea.
Many of the other libraries do provide this service.
No, I agree. I think it will pay for itself as long as we charge $15. And then it would pay for itself. And then obviously we keep charging $15. I have no problem.
Just a quick question, where does this go? Where does the camera go in the library?
So it'll stay in the office. We use a white background. We don't have to buy the background because our walls are white in that office. So it'll
In
be
your
the
office, yeah.
Director office. Yeah. Okay, great. I'll go ahead and make that purchase then and we'll make an announcement on social media and I'll update the passport advertising website.
Great,
Um,
thank you.
The next thing is I need an official mention in the minutes to vote on the foundation grant request. This is for the acoustic panels. It's in the amount of $15,000, a little under $15,000. So if everyone can individually say yay or nay to approve that we submit the grant request to the foundation. And before you do that, one of the questions on the application is indicating if they don't pay for it, will we? So I just need a yes or no for that also.
Okay, Jenna? I'll start off. Yes, for me, for the foundation. And no, I don't want to pay for it if they won't pay.
Yes, I am in support of the grant. And I do not think the library should pay for it individually if needed.
I agree. Yes, to the grant and no to the library paying for it.
Yes to grant, no to library paying for it.
Valerie?
Yes to the grant and no for the library paying for it.
John?
Yes to the grant, no to the library.
Okay, great. Selena?
Yes to the grant, no to the library paying for it.
Okay. Thank
Okay,
you all.
great. Thank you.
Great. The next thing is for the roof repair. You saw the numbers and the proposals in Dropbox. The Franzoso, while it is the least expensive quote, is for asphalt shingles. I don't think the town boards will allow us to even consider doing that. I think they want us to do the cedar shingles. So therefore Perry Garone comes in at the least expensive quote. I have applied for the library construction aid grant. I found out today that WLS approved it. So that's step one. They'll send it over now to New York State. So we won't know for sure whether we've got the grant until 2025.
But let me ask you something. So we only have 2 quotes. No, the other one was for asphalt.
Asphalt. Yes, we can continue collecting quotes and I've asked Ken Gill to do so.
Okay, great. Because now why don't you think they'll approve asphalt and why?
I was speaking to someone, I don't remember if it was the Historic Commission or someone, but I got the strong indication that it would not be an option for us, but I will, confirm all that for sure.
Yeah, please confirm. But what's on the roof now?
Cedar shingle.
Okay, so yeah, because
So
we're
the construction grant would cover 50%. That's the max.
okay. Yeah, I'd like to see 4 quotes. We only have 2 right now.
Okay.
For cedar. You're absolutely right. We are a historical building. You can see this from the road. So we would have to
It wouldn't
go.
look right.
Well, we'd have to go in front of the commission in the town. And so first you have to go in front of the planning board. Well, we're already there, but and then we'd have to go through another commission. So I think like the fence, we should keep it the way it is and just replace it, which we're allowed to. If we change it, we have to go in front of the boards. And that's how all of that
Can I
works.
just quickly ask, what is the problem with the roof? Is there a leak or is it part of the roof? Is it the whole roof?
It's leaking in several places, but particularly where the peaked roof meets the flat roof over the circulation desk. And we've replaced the ceiling tiles several times. Thinking something in the attic, we tried every single possible fix other than actually redoing the roof. And if you see that from the photos that I put in Dropbox of the roof, yes, the tiles are failing. They've been pulled away from the roof by winds and rain and everything, and they've left nail holes behind and it's just dribbling right through. So before it starts dribbling through onto books and furniture and rugs and floors, ruining our stuff, I think it needs to be addressed. We've tried everything else.
And we've had these people actually come in and look at it, or Ken Gilman has?
Yeah, so Mike Keller has looked at it, another roofing company has looked at it, and then the three people that are in the Dropbox have looked at it.
Got it.
Yeah,
Thank
I'd
you.
like
Ju-
It's the nuclear option. I really didn't want to have to do the roof, but I don't see any possible way. Do we have to be stewards of the building and it's,
Yeah,
But
I
just
just, I
to-
just need, at least two more.
of course. Yeah.
But to that end, and I don't know if the cheapest roofer, it's like getting the cheapest mechanic to fix your brakes
Mhm.
is always the answer, but I agree we could get more quotes. Is there a maintenance thing that we maybe didn't do or should plan on a go forward basis? Because I understood you kind of have to get cedar roofs maintained annually at least,
Gotcha. Well, we should add that to our facilities and maintenance checklist.
right? To avoid the nuclear options,
Yep, I
when
will.
they come up.
I will definitely add that. to
So
the
on,
list.
so getting to this, I know that, in our breakdown, we have funds that are specifically restricted, but they could be used. I know there was a bond that we totally did not, go into because we're leaving it liquidated. So I think John and Mike, if next month you guys can give me and the board a breakout of how all our bonds and when do they mature? Because I know one, we're not putting money into it. And if there's any money in any of those restricted funds that we could use for this roof.
Right, so I agree, we could start thinking about using those funds where we can. We got to pick the right trust and go ahead and do it.
Exactly.
All the trusts are managed together, so it's kind of like one portfolio. When the bond maturity came up and I said, don't invest in it because why would we do it? And then turn around and sell it. That being said, you can sell a bond at any point. They're not illiquid. So if we ever needed money, we would instruct him to sell the bonds and he could do that, within a
Okay.
day or something and get us what we need. So I'm okay doing that and making those decisions. We just have to kind of figure out the timing and the amounts and also then officially where we can pull it from. If that's the source that we want to use to
Yeah,
do it.
I would like, to kind of use that option because they are very restricted. I know some of those funds, restricted funds are for building, but some of them are not. And I think the wood fund is, so wood guys is this portion up until the doors. She only is this portion. The roof is leaking on that side. So
Okay.
the wood would not constitute using that fund for this.
Right. And I think one of them was sort of general use.
Yeah, I think if we look further in the Schwab accounts, the different three Schwab accounts are outlined based on the restrictions, and there is one that is general use. And I did send out to the group a listing of bonds and their maturity dates, but I will update it for you and send it out again.
It hasn't, yes, wasn't updated, but yeah, there's one that's general. I don't know which one. I know one of the big wood funds is only for this building. And it goes right to these doors.
And what about the foundation?
They weren't interested in paying for it.
Okay. And then the grant, how would that work if we actually got it? I mean, like since it wouldn't be paid out until 2025, do we pay it and then they reimburse us 50% or?
That's exactly how it works.
Okay,
Yep.
got it.
All the nitty gritty is right there in the slide if you're interested in reading it.
But I think, Jennifer, and maybe you'll agree, like that it is something, not to long range plan it, but we should be more regularly looking at these grants because it does take so long. So you almost like there should be a cycle of these things coming in because it takes so long to get there and really look at, what's out there and lean into it. They can always say no to us, but we might as well go for what we can.
Yeah, so these library construction grants come up every August. In the past, we've paid for our septic tank, doors and window replacement. Now this will be the next one. So
Great.
every year, we definitely will be looking at that. We're just not eligible for so many. But the grants, I look
Yep.
at all of them. Are there any other questions on the construction aid grant? Okay, I have to read this aloud and I'll give it to you, Anne, for the minutes, but it has to go in the minutes. This application completed in the preceding pages and accompanying documents for a public library construction aid award to be administered in accordance with the requirements of education law and commissioner regulations was read and duly adopted by the Board of Trustees of the Pound Ridge Library District at a legal meeting on September 20th, 2020.
Okay,
I'll
thank you,
get that.
Jennifer.
Okay, the next thing on the
Is Harvest Festival.
Harvest Festival.
That's October 7th, everyone. I and Ann, are going to be there. I don't know if I'm going to be there the whole day, but I will be there with shirts and hats. Alan is running the Harvest Festival. Jennifer will not be there this year. But we need volunteers from the trustees. So what time do we have to be there, Jennifer?
It begins at 1. I haven't been given instructions for the setup time yet.
Okay, great.
I'd be happy to be there for whatever period of time you need me.
I
Being
can be
great.
there for so many other things. I can't be there for this. My husband's traveling, my kids. I don't have help. I'm sorry.
That's
But let
okay.
me know if I can help with pre-prep.
Okay,
I know.
great. Do we have handouts and everything?
So if you'll see, our promotional items include tote bags, notepads, mood pencils, which change color when you hold them for the kids, candy, as Bonnie always likes, our event bookmarks, which list all of the programs for that month. And then I had a question for you all. We're giving away book lights at Halloween. If we want to do them for Harvest Festival as well, I need to order them by tomorrow. Any interest in handing out book lights in addition to the promotional items that we have listed here?
No,
They were a big hit at Halloween last year. That's the reason I'm asking.
no.
Okay.
Okay, great.
I have a question about Harvest Fest. Is there a children's program going on here that day that we could move to the festival? Haven't we done that in the past?
We have done that in the past. So what we've done also is to purchase a kids table at the event itself. So they will be holding an arts and craft thing in our name. We're sponsoring that table. In addition to that, we have our table. We could also I have make your own necklaces with little autumn leaves and pumpkins and all that kind of thing. But if it's a windy day, they just blow right away. So
Okay.
yeah,
So we are purchasing a kids table then. So there is something going on or?
we have purchased a kids table. There's sort
Okay.
of like a kids corral, if you will.
Okay.
A lot of local businesses are sponsoring a table.
Okay, great. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
There's been some talk in the past, and Selena's familiar with this. We've had patrons were interested in us having a drag queen story time. We decided that it would be a perfect venue to have it at Pride Month at the Color Run. So Selena asked me to contact the sponsors of the Color, which are the Pound Ridge Partnership and the Human Rights Advisory Committee. And they are both interested in sponsoring, but they would like to do a 3-way split. So they would like the library to pony up 1/3. The total cost is $500. So that's 500 split 3 ways. We thought that it would be best not to use taxpayer dollars. And I've approached the foundation in the past. I think we just had a time crunch last year. But the foundation's particular about what in expenses that they are willing to be a part of. So I wanted to know if there was any indication of whether you want me to ask the foundation again, or if we want to come up with some sort of alternative fundraiser type of a thing to fund that, and what your thoughts were.
I would like you to ask the foundation.
But we can't fundraise, like, no, we can't, right? I mean, we're just not allowed to. So, so we can't do something like that. The only thing we can do is go to the foundation, I think.
Wait, go to the foundation for $500?
A third of that.
third
Third of that. Yeah, so it would be the library, the Pound Ridge Foundation, and who was the
No.
third?
No, so
No,
Okay, go ahead.
partnership
Yeah, Pound Ridge Partnership,
be
Human Rights Advisory Commission.
Rights-
Human Rights.
Rights Advisory.
and then the
Commission,
foundation
and then the
paying for it.
And we're gonna ask the foundation. They haven't said that they're going to.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I think the previous discussion at the board, and we can have it again, is that most of us feel that this is just an area that many people have various views on. And to spend taxpayer money on something that is so heated in the world seems like we're taking a risk out there. And my assumption would be if we wanted to have a, shooting activity, most of you would say the same thing. So I think it's just a politically charged issue. And so I think the view was that the library didn't feel comfortable getting in that space.
bear with me. The HRAC, is that a national or federal
No, that's
foundation?
Pound
Is that
Ridge.
Pound Ridge? Okay,
It's Pound Ridge,
okay.
but many other towns, especially across Westchester and Fairfield County, do have those kind of advisory committees.
Great. Thank you for clarifying.
And to the question of the board can't fundraise, is it something that the library could fundraise? This is just a policy question more than anything.
Yeah, no, it's a legal issue
Yes.
that we are, because we are a taxing district, we are not allowed to fundraise.
Right. I just wanted to clarify, it's not that the Board of Trustees cannot fundraise, that, I mean, both, rather. It's the board and the library itself.
Yeah, we're all the same entity. So yes, none of us can fundraise.
Okay, so there's no other, I mean, yeah, there's no other option, basically, is what
The
we're
only thing I
saying,
can
other
think
than
of
a
is like
purchase.
book sale. We're allowed to have
Say
a
that
book
again?
sale. The only thing I can think of is like a book sale. If we were to, can you hear me? If we were allowed
Yes.
to sell some of our, look, we were talking about doing a book sale, in the basement, whatever, we could have a book sale, those funds could be used, for example.
My only concern is that the optics of that is that we're generating commerce. Like, I think that could fall under fundraising, unfortunately, for me, at least.
Okay, if anyone comes up with anything creative, let me know. Okay, so September is National Library Card Sign Up Month, and I started a campaign to get on our local organizations and clubs and representatives involved. They just started smiling and holding up their library card. We took photos. We're going to make it into a compilation reel for social media. You can see here our participants so far. We've got the town supervisor, the town clerk, the Friends of Pound Ridge, Recreation Department, the fire chief, the principal, the Historical Society, Neighbor to Neighbor, the Human Rights Advisory Council, the Land Conservancy, the Garden Club. We have a ton of merchants, and the rest of the people are coming in this week. The police chief, Pound Ridge Partnership, the Library Foundation, Boy Scouts, Neighbors and Newcomers. So it's turning out to be quite a good turnout. So in that vein, I need all of you in the 5-minute break between now and your executive session. I've got cards for you all if you don't have them with you. You just need to step outside and take a quick photo of all of you because we need to be represented.
Great. Thank you very much.
That's it from me.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to new business.
I'm going to take the new business chance to catch up on 2 technology issues that I skipped. The first is that right now we're evaluating the use of Dropbox versus Google Docs, Google Drive. Yeah, I knew it
Drive.
was a D.
Yeah.
So we're going to be putting all of the documents in both and testing the tires, seeing how they run, and maybe saving a little money from the using Dropbox so much. And second, please note the beautiful name placards that you have. And Jennifer and I and all of us are trying to work on our compliance with the New York State Open Meetings Law. And one of them is to have everybody identified. So thank you for having your placards, and we'll talk in the future about other ways in which we can improve our compliance with open meeting laws.
Thank you, Mike. Any other new business?
It just dawned on me that Ken Gilman wasn't here tonight, but the reason why I had wanted to add new business to the agenda was because during our meetings are a month apart, and sometimes we visit the library and we notice things, and then we forget to bring things up. So I just wanted to make a comment that our front entrance, we noticed this yesterday. We spent a lot of time outside yesterday. Our front entrance, I don't know if Ken Gilman is responsible for this, but it needs a really good cleaning. I mean, just like I clean my front door, we need a broom. There's spider webs. It was really dirty. The sliding glass doors need to be washed, and the finials, Jennifer, that we removed from the fence are sitting out on the lawn. So no one removed the finials. And the Adirondack chairs are filthy. They're just, so I don't know who's responsible for that, for keeping the grounds.
Well, the glass door should
Clean.
be our cleaning crew, I would think, but I don't know if it's in our contract, Jennifer. I'm happy to look at it if you want me to.
And, things get really dirty up here in Pembridge.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I
Yeah.
clean one day and the next day, everything. But, if I had Windex, I would have cleaned it, but you can't because the doors keep moving.
They do. Yes, yeah. But I think the rest of the stuff, it's
like the-
not, I don't think that's Ken's job personally.
No, that's
to-
what I'm just
to clean
wondering.
chairs.
Right.
But this is one of the problems in a small town you know what I mean? Like, unfortunately, the only people that are responsible for that are our staff, Jennifer, right?
It was just an aesthetic observation, Oh, I know. That's why I said things get, but, we do need to toss those finials, though. They're just sitting out by the fence. Okay. Okay, all right. Thank you. That's all I have.
Great. Thank you. Any other new business? Any public remarks? Is the record review on?
No, Neil said I think he couldn't come to that.
Oh, goodness gracious. That just means he'll be contacting us. Yeah, so my,
Well, not yet.
Yeah.
Next morning, next month.
next month, so Anne, congratulations, but you have to get sworn in. I told you
Okay.
that
Oh,
yesterday.
thank you for reminding me.
You have to get sworn in. Any new trustee knows you have to go to the townhouse and get sworn in. Her name is Erin Trostel. She's the one that swears you in, so you have to make sure she's available.
So just so everyone knows, legally, Anne is still a trustee under her old trusteeship through the end of September. And then in
Exactly.
October.
October 1st always starts the new trustees, but congratulations again, Anne.
It's sworn in before.
Yes, you have to
Okay.
get sworn in before.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. And then you bring the certificate to Jennifer. Anything else? Okay, so that concludes our meeting, 8:53. We're going to take a 5-minute break with our library cards.
Mine's at home.
Oh, she is. And so I make a motion that we close the meeting at 8:53. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Okay, and then immediately after this, we're
Can
gonna
I
go.
ask how I should join executive session if I should?
Hold on.
Oh,
Selena's asking if she should join executive session or if she needs to. I mean, it's up to you, Selena. I think you can
No,
go ahead.
I'm happy to. I just don't know if I should, like, if one of you should call me on your
That's
phone.
what we'd have to do. We'd have to
Okay, okay,
do
got
a
it.
phone call to you. which
Got
we
it, got
can
it.
Yeah,
Okay.
who has your phone number?
Any of you.
Okay, so Jenna Weiss can call you.
Okay,
And so I make a motion now, after a 5-minute break, we go into executive session.
great. Thanks.
All in
Bye,
favor?
everyone.
Aye.
Bye.